The news hit Sheng Shao You like a thunderbolt, a shock so intense that he could barely stand. He stared at the little strip in his hand, blinking rapidly, trying to convince himself that what he saw wasn't real. It was impossible. He couldn't be pregnant. He was an alpha, always had been, and Hua Yong had always presented himself as an alpha too. Yet the test said otherwise, a tiny symbol with a truth he wasn't prepared to accept. His heart raced, mind spinning. Panic clawing at him as he tried to process the impossible. Sheng sank into a chair, his hands trembling as he gripped the test. He felt the world tilting, a dizzying vertigo that made his stomach churn. How could this happen? He had always been careful. He had always believed he knew the rules of the world. Alphas couldn't carry a child, at least not naturally. Not like Omegas could. And Hua Yong wasn't supposed to be capable of this. Sheng's mind flashed back to all the moments he had spent with Hua Yong. The closeness, the intensity, the night after night they had shared. And suddenly everything seemed different, confusing, dangerous. He recalled the way Hua Yong had touched him, kissed him, claimed him, not as an Omega, but as something more, something ambiguous, something beyond the normal hierarchy of Alpha and Omega. And now the impossible had happened. Sheng's fingers trembled as he gripped the edge of the table. He must be an enigma. That thought struck him like lightning. Of course, Hua Yong had never revealed his true nature. He had let Sheng believe he was just another alpha, but now the truth was undeniable. Hua Yong had manipulated him, played him, and somehow, incredibly, made the impossible happen. Sheng's mind raced back to the night they had shared so intensely. Hua Yong had been careful, precise, yet there had been an intensity beyond reason. He had whispered things, touched him in ways that made his mind go blank, and Sheng had trusted him completely. He had surrendered, body and soul, to a man he thought he understood, and now he realized he had understood very little. This is why he's always been so powerful, so precise, so in control. Hua Yong wasn't just an alpha, he was something beyond it, something Sheng could never have predicted. Sheng's chest tightened as he thought of the consequences. The world of alphas and omegas was rigid, structured, controlled. Being pregnant as an alpha was unheard of, dangerous, and fraught with complications. His mind spun with questions. What would the company think? What would his family say? How would he even explain this? And most importantly, how would Hua Yong react? He had loved Sheng for 15 years, manipulating, scheming, and waiting for the perfect moment. Could this be part of that scheme too? Could Hua Yong have planned this, knowing exactly how it would shake Sheng's world? The thought made Sheng's stomach twist. He had trusted Hua Yong, surrendered to him completely, and yet now he felt a growing fear, a new vulnerability. For the first time, Sheng realized how little control he truly had, not just over the world, but over his own body. Hua Yong had always seemed untouchable, untamable, and now Sheng saw that he truly was. Every kiss, every touch, every night of passion was carefully calculated, a web of manipulation that had brought them here. Sheng's mind raced, trying to piece together the impossible puzzle. If Hua Yong was an enigma, then that would explain everything, the intensity, the ability to push boundaries, the control. But it also terrified him. Enigmas were unpredictable, powerful beyond measure. And the thought that he was carrying Hua Yong's child made the world feel simultaneously small and terrifyingly vast. He wanted to scream, to cry, to confront Hua Yong, and yet he felt paralyzed. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide, to regain control. But he knew, deep down, that he couldn't escape what had already happened. Hours passed in a blur as Sheng tried to collect himself, pacing the room, gripping his head, struggling to reconcile the impossible. He recalled the way Hua Yong had kissed him that night, whispered promises and ownership, and suddenly a part of him shivered, not from fear, but from lingering desire. He realized with a shock that even in panic, even in disbelief, he couldn't stop thinking about Hua Yong, couldn't stop feeling the pull of the man who had manipulated him, claimed him, and now had changed his life irrevocably. Finally, Sheng stopped pacing and sank into a chair, his fingers trembling over his face. He had to think, to plan, to understand. But deep down, he knew that nothing would ever be the same. Hua Yong had always been a puzzle, a force beyond reason, and now Sheng's body was proof of that power. A single tear escaped, running down his cheek. He had loved Hua Yong, yes, but now that love was tangled with fear, confusion, and something else, something undeniable and irreversible. He was carrying a life he never imagined, created by a man whose true nature he was only beginning to understand. Sheng's heart pounded as he finally found Hua Yong in the study, seated behind his desk, calm and composed as ever. The older man looked up from a pile of documents and raised an eyebrow, a faint, knowing smile tugging at the corner of his lips. Sheng felt a mix of fear, anger, and disbelief rise in his chest. Every step toward him was heavy, loaded with emotions he couldn't fully name. Hua Yong, Sheng began, voice trembling. I don't understand. How is this possible? He held up the test, his hands shaking. I'm pregnant. How? What did you do? His words stumbled over themselves, desperate for clarity, for answers, for some explanation that would make sense. Hua Yong's smile widened, slow and deliberate. You're confused, Sheng, he said softly, voice calm, almost soothing, yet carrying a dangerous undertone. And I understand why. It's not something you expected. You thought you knew me, thought you knew how the world works, thought you knew yourself. But he leaned back, letting the pause stretch long enough to make Sheng's chest tighten. You're learning now. Sheng's hands trembled as he tried to process the words. Learning? Learning what? That an alpha can't do this. That you lied to me. That I'm carrying your child? His breaths came fast and shallow, heart racing. The room seemed smaller, the walls closing in as fear and confusion battled with desire and lingering heat from the night they had shared. Hua Yong's gaze softened, but there was a sharpness beneath it, a precision that sent shivers down Sheng's spine. I never said I was like other alphas, Hua Yong murmured, leaning forward slightly. I told you what you needed to know, what you thought you wanted. But the truth is far more complicated, and far more irreversible. Sheng's stomach twisted as he absorbed the meaning. Hua Yong had never been honest. Every word, every gesture, every touch had been part of a plan Sheng hadn't even begun to understand. But how could this happen? Sheng's voice was almost a whisper, trembling as the impossible reality sank in. I don't even know what I am now. I thought I was an alpha. I thought you were too. And his voice broke, frustration and fear flooding him. How can you just sit there and look at me like this? Hua Yong stood, moving closer with that measured, predatory calm that always unnerved Sheng. Because I know you, Sheng, he said softly, voice low, almost intimate. I know you better than anyone. I know how your body responds, how your mind reacts, how your heart beats. And I know that right now, all you can feel is confusion, fear, and a deep, undeniable connection to me. Sheng swallowed hard, eyes widening. Hua Yong's words were like a mirror, reflecting his own helpless desire back at him. You did this on purpose, didn't you? Sheng whispered, almost accusing, almost pleading. Hua Yong's lips curved into a faint, unreadable smile. Do you think I would ever do anything without reason? He murmured. I've loved you for 15 years, Sheng. 15 years of waiting, of planning, of watching you. Every moment, every touch, every night we shared. It all led here. Sheng's breath hitched. You loved me all this time, but I thought I was the one in control. I thought I knew you. His hands shook, tears threatening to spill as he grappled with the reality. Hua Yong moved closer, tilting Sheng's chin gently, forcing him to meet those piercing eyes that held the weight of manipulation, love, and dominance all at once. "You never knew me, Sheng," Hua Yong said softly, brushing a strand of hair from his forehead. "Because you never needed to. You only needed to believe. And now, you understand." The words struck Sheng with a mix of awe and fear. Hua Yong had orchestrated everything, controlled everything, and even now, Sheng felt powerless under the weight of that knowledge. Sheng's mind raced. "So, I'm carrying your child. And you knew this would happen? You planned it? All of it?" Hua Yong's expression softened, almost tenderly. Yet every inch of him screamed control and precision. "Yes," he said simply. "And I would do it again. Because you are mine, Sheng. And now, you are more than mine. You are the bearer of my legacy, my life, our connection."